Hey, what's going on? My name is Michael Nelson. I'm enrolled in the summer class teaching the Bible creatively. And today we're just going to take a short little journey on, we're going to be reading from Luke, the 8th chapter, verses 40 through 48, I believe. And the method that I had to choose, that I chose was the theological method. And the reason why I chose that is personally because I really found that method to be the most effective for me personally, not just for anybody else, but for me personally. That's the method that I found to be the most one that I really could identify with. The theological method is more so you read and you understand that, and looking through the notes, that it's more so of a type of a preaching method. It's more so type of a word study or a subject topic. And when I was reading through Luke, we had to choose either between Luke or we had to choose between Exodus. And I chose the book of Luke because it's the New Testament and I can identify with the New Testament just a little bit easier. So as I was reading through the scriptures, because we have to select a passage, I selected, um, it's my favorite story in the Bible. It's the woman with the issue of blood. And that story, it really is, just an amazing story. So shortly, we're just going to be reading from Luke, and we're off. A dead girl and a sick woman. Now, when Jesus returned, the crowd welcomed him, for they all were expecting him. Then a man named Jairus, a ruler of the synagogue, came and fell at his feet, pleading with him, "Come to his house, because his only daughter, a girl who was about 12, was dying." As Jesus was on his way, the crowds almost crushed him. And a woman who was there, who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, but no one could heal her. She came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak, and immediately her bleeding stopped. "Who touched me?" Jesus asked. When they all denied it, Peter said, "Master, the people are crowding and pressing against you." But Jesus said, "Someone touched me. I know that power has gone out from me." Then the woman, seeing that she could not go unnoticed, came trembling and fell at his feet, in the presence of all the people. She told why she had touched him and how she had been instantly healed. Then he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace." Now, specifically, what we're going to do is, like I said, with your reading and looking over the notes from that Dr. McLeod provided in the book, the theological method is more so, like I said, a preaching method. And it's more so we're trying to narrow it down to a certain topic or like a word study. And, the woman with the issue of blood, one of the things personally, because this class is more so geared towards like personal applications and more so of a Bible study. The main thing that I saw when I read that story is written all over it. The one thing that I read that really caught my eye, and the one word or subject that really stuck out to me, was faith. Now, before we jump into the lesson, we have to also define exactly what faith is. According to Hebrews 11:1, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen. So just reading through the story, we can identify different things, different themes. But like I said, the theme that personally stuck out for me was faith. Um, Going back to the reading, it says that this story is depicted throughout Matthew, Mark, and Luke. It's not in the book of John, and each account, it just gives you just a little bit more and it's different. But from this account, it says that, um, she was there. Um, the points were to the crowd. The crowd was almost, it was so many people that they almost crushed Jesus. And here was this lady who, it records in the different gospels that she spent all that she had, all of her money, all of her likelihood, everything that she had. And, nothing can happen, and I took that as a personal application, of faith. So many times we go through things in life and instances, and whether it's sickness, and the one thing that I saw is that we definitely have to have faith, because, if there's one lady in history or one person in history who could have gave up, it definitely is, this lady who had this issue of blood. And we believe, in researching that, um, it could be, menstruation problems. It could be a hemorrhage. We really don't, know exactly, where exactly the blood is coming from. But, I believe it's more so of a personal problem, um, a menstrual problem. And reading, I just see faith is all over this this woman, because continuing to read, it says that and nobody could heal her. No doctors, nothing. And it said that instead of her condition getting better, her condition it continued to get worse. Now this woman could have gave up. It's like so many of us do. I know, including myself. We're quick to give up on things in life, and she didn't give up. She had something that she wanted from God. Um, and I think that the main reason that she didn't give up, it wasn't because she was some type of person who just was really really resistant, but I believe that the reason that she kept her head up in spite of everything that was going on is because of her faith, because of her hope, because she believed, and I think that's key for us today, is that we most definitely we just have to believe, despite everything. We must always keep our faith. Now, what she does is interesting, is because according to Leviticus 15, she's not supposed to even touch any man. She's not supposed to touch anybody. She's basically an outcast to society because this certain issue of blood that she has, and it causes her to become unclean. So now she's probably lonely, depressed. Nobody wants to be around her because she's considered an outcast. But yet, despite through that all, she still has, this faith. She still wants something from Jesus. So in reading, a couple of things that caught my eye. Like I said, the dominating the subject of this passage, is faith. She could have easily gave up, and she sat there, and she just thought. And the main thing about faith, it has to be in here first. It has to come from your mind, and then it has to result in action. We see that word faith. I like to look at it as faith should always be an action word. Because it has to manifest first in your mind, and then you have to actually have a plan to go about what it is that you desire. And she desired to get healed from God, and we see that she definitely did get healed, because it wasn't anything that she did. It wasn't because we think a lot of times, oh well, if we just do this, if we just do that, if we just try to be good, maybe this will happen, this will happen. But Jesus says something interesting. He says, daughter, your faith has healed you. Not because you came to class on time, not because you're a good student, not because you held the door open for somebody, but the one key element that he says your faith has healed you. And I believe, Jesus says, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can do anything basically. If you say to this mountain be moved, it shall be moved. And I think the key thing in our life that we need is faith. And looking at this woman's life, seeing that it's faith written all over her life, it's nothing else. It's not because of what she was doing or what she was trying to do. It basically was because of her faith. Now, if I was to take this, I would gear this towards more so this story can be taught at any level, a Bible study, adult, youth Bible study, but I think what I would do with it, I would gear it to more towards adult Bible study. That's just me personally, and I think that you can turn this even to a sermon. And I think one of the ways I would incorporate that is because you can actually act this out as a skit. And what you could do is, you can have a crowd, you can have somebody playing Jesus, somebody playing the woman with the issue of blood, and maybe have a narrator in the background. And this can be, a whole entire sermon. The story is just that good. So maybe this is one of the things that I would definitely, incorporate if I was to teach this, maybe to front of kids, to illustrate the point even more. You know, um, that's one of the things, I definitely would do. Um, well, it looks like my 10 minutes is coming up. Um, I encourage you to always keep the faith. I encourage you, whatever the situation is, whatever the circumstance is, don't be discouraged. Just how this woman, she needed something from God. I'm pretty sure today we all need something from God, but just be persistent about it and don't give up and just keep trying, because eventually something will fall through. So, thank you for your time. Like I said, it's the theological method, more so of a preaching method, aimed towards a subject topic, and that subject topic was faith. Thank you. It's been real. Talk to you later.